The courtroom drama surrounding Sean "Diddy" Combs escalated dramatically as jurors expressed intense frustration over what they perceived as repeated dishonesty under oath. Witnesses and evidence have painted a tangled web of conflicting statements, with Diddy's credibility taking center stage. The jury's anger highlights the high stakes of the trial, where every word and gesture is scrutinized under a microscope. As tensions rise, the prosecution seizes the opportunity to underscore the alleged deceit, while the defense scrambles to regain control of the narrative. With emotions running high and the spotlight firmly on the hip-hop mogul, the courtroom battles are intensifying, promising an explosive trial that could redefine Combs's legacy forever. Day 2 of the trial, a rocky start for Diddy. The second day of Sean "Diddy" Combs's highly publicized federal trial concluded with a palpable tension in the courtroom, signaling the beginning of what promises to be a protracted legal battle. Central to the day's proceedings was a dramatic focus on Combs's shifting narrative concerning a distressing video that allegedly shows him physically assaulting his former girlfriend, singer and actress Cassie Ventura. This video, first leaked to the public via CNN, quickly became a crucial piece of evidence and a flashpoint of contradiction for Combs himself. Initially, Combs publicly acknowledged the video's authenticity. In a rare moment of apparent vulnerability, he issued a heartfelt apology on social media, admitting shame and responsibility for his actions depicted in the footage. This apology struck many as a sign of accountability from a man whose public persona has often been that of a confident, charismatic mogul. However, shockwaves rippled through the trial when, just 1 week prior to opening arguments, Combs deleted the apology from his social platforms and instead filed a legal motion branding the video a fabrication. This abrupt reversal cast doubt on Combs's credibility and motives. Was the apology a calculated public relations move designed to soften public backlash? Or did mounting legal advice prompt a tactical retreat from admitting fault? The defense's aggressive motion to exclude the video from evidence underscores just how pivotal the footage is to the prosecution's case. Jury selection, setting the stage for a lengthy trial. As the jury selection process began, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Security around the courthouse was noticeably heightened, reflecting the trial's profile and the public interest it commands. The selection phase is not just a procedural formality, but a critical juncture that can influence the entire trial's trajectory. The trial is projected to last approximately 8 weeks, a testament to the case's complexity, the volume of evidence, and the number of witnesses expected to testify. The entertainment industry, legal experts, and the public alike are watching closely, not just to see whether Combs will be convicted or acquitted, but also for the precedent this trial could set regarding how powerful figures are held accountable in cases involving allegations of abuse and exploitation. Combs himself appeared in court dressed simply, a crew neck sweater over a white button-down shirt, a marked contrast to his usual larger-than-life stage and business presence. His demeanor was noticeably subdued, with signs of anxiety creeping into his usually confident exterior. At one point, Combs even admitted to feeling nervous and requested a brief bathroom break, a rare glimpse of his human vulnerability amidst the intense pressure. Adding layers of intrigue to the trial, several prominent names have surfaced in court documents and discussions. Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Kanye West, and, notably, Cassie Ventura herself have all been mentioned, though none are accused of any criminal wrongdoing. Their names hint at potential connections and interwoven relationships within the entertainment ecosystem that could be explored during the trial, potentially revealing new dynamics of power, influence, and scandal. The video at the center of the storm. The video that has become the focal point of this trial allegedly shows Combs physically assaulting Cassie Ventura on March 5, 2016, inside a hotel room at the Intercontinental Hotel. After CNN first broadcast the footage, it rapidly went viral, shattering Combs's carefully cultivated public image and shining a harsh spotlight on his personal conduct. From the start, Combs's defense team has waged an aggressive legal battle to exclude the video from trial proceedings. Their motion in limine, a pretrial legal request intended to exclude evidence they argue would unfairly prejudice the jury, asserts that the video has been heavily edited and manipulated. According to the defense, the footage was sped up, chopped into out-of-sequence clips, and otherwise altered to distort what truly transpired. Further complicating matters, the defense claims the original unedited footage has been destroyed, meaning there is no way to verify the video's integrity. This allegation, if accepted by the court, could severely undermine the prosecution's case by raising reasonable doubts about the video's authenticity. To bolster this line of defense, Combs's attorneys have proposed introducing expert testimony from a forensic video analyst who would contest the credibility of the footage, attempting to convince jurors that what they see might not represent the truth. This strategy is designed to create enough skepticism that the jury might discount the video's impact or potentially disregard it altogether. Legal maneuvering, suppressing evidence, and challenging warrants. Combs's legal defense extends beyond contesting the video. His attorneys have also targeted the foundation of the government's case by challenging the legality of how evidence was collected. In a series of high-profile raids, federal agents searched Combs's residences in Los Angeles and Miami, seizing electronic devices and accessing iCloud accounts linked to the mogul. The defense has filed motions to suppress all evidence obtained through these searches, arguing that the warrants authorizing them were excessively broad and based on misleading, sensationalized information. They contend that federal agents painted a distorted picture of reality to justify sweeping searches, omitting key facts that might have prevented the issuance of the warrants had the court been fully informed. This motion to suppress evidence is a critical component of the defense's strategy, aiming to exclude any materials that might be deemed unlawfully obtained or tainted. If successful, it could severely weaken the prosecution's case, forcing them to rely on less compelling evidence. The defense frames this legal push as essential to protecting Combs's constitutional rights and ensuring the trial is fair. By attacking the government's methods, the defense seeks to cast doubt not only on the evidence, but also on the overall integrity of the prosecution's case. Cassie Ventura's testimony and the abuse allegations central to the government's case is the anticipated testimony of Cassie Ventura, whose accusations against Combs extend well beyond the viral video showing a physical altercation. Ventura is prepared to detail a disturbing pattern of control and abuse, claiming that the violence was part of a sustained campaign of physical and emotional maltreatment throughout their relationship. Her testimony will likely include descriptions of manipulative behavior, threats, and instances of coercion that contributed to a climate of fear and subjugation. Prosecutors argue that Ventura's experiences are emblematic of the broader abuses linked to Combs's alleged criminal enterprise, particularly within the context of the freak-off parties, where women were reportedly exploited and abused under the influence of drugs and intimidation. However, the defense vehemently disputes Ventura's characterization of events. Combs's legal team contends that Ventura was a willing participant in the lifestyle and activities at the controversial parties. They argue that she was not coerced or abused, but instead engaged consensually in these environments. This fundamental disagreement about Ventura's role is expected to be a pivotal issue during the trial, shaping how jurors interpret the dynamics of power, consent, and victimization in this case. The broader implications: celebrity, influence, and justice. The trial is more than just a legal battle between two individuals. It is a stark examination of how celebrity power intersects with the justice system. Sean Combs is not an ordinary defendant. His status as a global icon, with vast influence across music, fashion, and entertainment industries, complicates the pursuit of justice. His name carries weight, and his empire includes business ventures that span continents. Legal experts and observers highlight the unique challenges prosecutors face in holding powerful figures accountable. The trial underscores the difficulties in penetrating the carefully constructed public images of celebrities, which often act as shields against allegations of misconduct. Wealth and fame can provide access to legal resources, public relations strategies, and influential networks that may complicate the delivery of justice. Conversely, the defense's strategy, meticulously questioning the evidence and exploiting legal technicalities, illustrates the hurdles prosecutors must overcome to present a compelling case. The trial has become a high-profile contest between the might of celebrity and the pursuit of accountability, with broader implications for how the legal system navigates cases involving influential individuals. The role of celebrity attorneys and legal advisors. Reflecting the high stakes involved, Sean Combs's legal team includes some of the most prominent figures in entertainment law. Notably, Mark Geragos, a celebrity attorney renowned for representing high-profile clients across the entertainment and political spheres, has been brought in to advise on critical trial components such as jury selection. Geragos's expertise in managing complex cases involving public figures is seen as a key asset for Combs's defense, as jury selection in such a high-profile trial is crucial to shaping the outcome. In addition, Tina Geragos, Mark's daughter, serves as one of Combs's lead attorneys, further underscoring the formidable legal firepower assembled in Combs's corner. The involvement of these high-profile attorneys signals both the seriousness of the charges and the considerable resources Combs is willing to invest in his defense. Their experience with celebrity cases, media scrutiny, and trial strategy will undoubtedly shape the proceedings and affect how evidence and testimony are presented and perceived. Allegations of a cover-up, complicity among witnesses, and hotel staff. Beyond the courtroom, the trial has raised troubling questions about the roles of others who may have been aware of abusive behavior but failed to act. Allegations have surfaced, suggesting that hotel staff and other individuals who had access to or witnessed incidents, including viewing the incriminating video footage, did not report what they saw or take steps to intervene. Critics argue that this silence amounts to complicity, allowing Combs's alleged misconduct to continue unchecked. Some speculate that Combs may have leveraged his influence and status to suppress damaging evidence and silence potential witnesses, creating a culture of fear and control extending beyond his immediate circle. These allegations of a cover-up add another layer of complexity to the case. They raise concerns about systemic failures and highlight how power and influence can be wielded to evade accountability. The trial may thus expose not only the specifics of Combs's actions, but also the broader networks of protection and concealment that enabled them. The government's plea offer. Combs' decisive rejection. One of the most striking moments of the recent court proceedings came when the government revealed that they had extended a plea deal offer to Sean Combs, the internationally recognized rapper and entrepreneur. In federal criminal cases, plea agreements often serve as pivotal tools for both prosecution and defense. These deals typically allow defendants to avoid the unpredictability and potential severity of a trial verdict by pleading guilty to lesser charges or fewer counts in exchange for reduced sentences. Yet, despite the high stakes, including the possibility of life imprisonment, Combs made it unequivocally clear that he had no interest in accepting any such deal. Appearing before the judge clad in a beige jail uniform, Combs was directly questioned about the plea offer. His response was firm and resolute. Yes, when asked if he was rejecting the deal. This moment was significant, not just for its clarity, but for what it implied about Combs's mindset going into the trial. Rejecting a plea deal under such severe charges suggests a combination of confidence in his defense and a determination to fight the allegations vigorously in court. It also guarantees that the case will proceed to trial, now scheduled to begin in just 4 days, ushering in what is expected to be a lengthy and arduous legal battle lasting several months. The charges against Sean Combs, a daunting legal battle. Sean Combs is currently charged with a host of serious federal offenses that paint a grim portrait of alleged criminal conduct spanning years. Among the most severe accusations are racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. These charges reflect the government's contention that Combs orchestrated a vast criminal enterprise involving coercion and exploitation of both women and men. At the core of the allegations is Combs's alleged role in organizing and facilitating prolonged freak-off parties, drug-fueled, often chaotic gatherings where illegal sexual activities took place. Prosecutors assert that Combs used his substantial wealth, influence, and celebrity status as tools to lure and manipulate individuals, compelling them into exploitative and degrading situations. These parties reportedly operated under a veneer of glamour but were, in reality, environments rife with drug abuse, intimidation, and coercion. The charges also suggest a calculated pattern of behavior aimed at maintaining control over victims through fear and substance dependency, allegedly silencing those involved to prevent exposure. Prosecutors portray these acts as part of a decade-long campaign of criminal activity that ran parallel to Combs's public life as a celebrated figure in the entertainment industry. Jury selection. The pivotal first step in a high-stakes trial. With the trial imminent, attention swiftly turned to jury selection, a process widely regarded as one of the most crucial phases in any criminal proceeding. Over Monday and Tuesday, the presiding judge began assembling a panel of 35 potential jurors, with plans to expand that pool to 45 in the coming days. From this group, the final jury will be chosen to hear what promises to be a complex and emotionally charged case expected to span roughly 2 months. The potential jurors face a particularly difficult task. They must be prepared to confront graphic and explicit evidence, including videos known as the freak-off tapes, footage seized during federal raids on Combs's Miami mansion. These tapes reportedly depict drug-fueled sexual parties involving numerous individuals, with the government viewing them as central pieces of evidence implicating Combs and potentially others. Legal analysts emphasize that jury selection in cases involving high-profile defendants and sensitive subject matter goes beyond merely ensuring impartiality. The jurors must be capable of absorbing distressing content without bias or emotional overwhelm, maintaining an objective perspective throughout a trial rife with deeply personal and disturbing testimony. Given Combs's celebrity status, the challenge is intensified. Almost no potential juror will be unfamiliar with him, making it imperative to carefully screen for any preconceived notions or biases that might interfere with a fair trial. The attorneys on both sides are expected to probe potential jurors thoroughly to identify those best suited to evaluate the evidence dispassionately. Combs' moment of vulnerability. A glimpse behind the celebrity. Amid the intense atmosphere of jury selection, one seemingly minor moment stood out and resonated with observers. Sean Combs requested a bathroom break and apologized to the judge, admitting he was feeling nervous. While a commonplace occurrence in court, this candid admission offered a rare glimpse into the human side of a figure often viewed as larger than life. Legal experts interpret this moment as a subtle but telling sign of the psychological pressure Combs is experiencing. Having spent decades building an empire that spans music, fashion, and business, he now confronts the very real threat that his legacy and freedom could be irreparably damaged. The rapid pace at which this federal case has moved, trials at this level often take years to begin, only amplifies the stress and urgency surrounding the proceedings. This brief episode of vulnerability humanizes Combs and underscores the emotional weight he carries as the trial approaches, reminding the public that beneath the celebrity facade is a person grappling with profound uncertainty and anxiety. Victims and witnesses, a complex web of testimony. One of the most challenging and intricate aspects of Sean Combs's upcoming trial will be the testimonies of victims and witnesses. Federal prosecutors have amassed a significant number of individuals willing to share their experiences, creating a complex mosaic of voices that the court will hear over the course of the proceedings. However, many of these alleged victims have chosen to remain anonymous in court documents, identified only as Jane Doe or John Doe to protect their privacy. This anonymity reflects the sensitive nature of the allegations and the emotional toll involved in reliving deeply traumatic experiences in a public forum. Among these anonymous witnesses, one individual known as Victim 1 has drawn particular attention. Unlike many others, Victim 1's identity has been widely reported, and she is fully aware that her testimony will subject her to intense public scrutiny. She must recount intimate details of her personal and sexual history, as well as her involvement with Combs. The fact that she has not withdrawn her cooperation, despite the invasive and personal nature of her testimony, demonstrates both the seriousness with which prosecutors are pursuing the case and the courage of those who have come forward. Cassie Ventura's role, the public face of allegations. Cassie Ventura's involvement lends a powerful and highly visible dimension to the trial, setting her apart from other accusers who remain shielded by anonymity. As a former singer and actress with a substantial fan base, Ventura's decision to come forward publicly carries significant weight, amplifying the credibility and gravity of the allegations. Her testimony is expected to provide vivid and detailed insights into the alleged abuse, moving beyond abstract legal claims to paint a human portrait of suffering and manipulation. For the public, and crucially for the jury, hearing Ventura recount her experiences in her own voice will make the allegations harder to dismiss as mere hearsay or fabrication. Her direct engagement in the courtroom, looking Combs in the eye and telling her story, will likely resonate profoundly with jurors, potentially influencing their perceptions of the defendant and the evidence presented. Moreover, Ventura's presence complicates the defense's narrative, which has sought to portray her as a willing participant in the freak-off lifestyle and discredit her allegations. Her willingness to take the stand publicly challenges this defense strategy and heightens the stakes of the trial for Combs. Legal team expansion and trial preparations. As the trial date looms closer, Combs has taken deliberate steps to strengthen his defense, reflecting the case's mounting pressure and complexity. During the most recent hearing, it was announced that 2 new attorneys would be joining his legal team. This bolstering of resources signals an aggressive, comprehensive approach to confronting the prosecution's formidable case. The additions to the defense team will play critical roles in managing the extensive discovery process, preparing witnesses, and crafting strategic legal arguments aimed at excluding or minimizing the impact of key pieces of evidence, particularly the contentious video footage seized from Combs's properties. The defense faces an uphill battle, especially given the impressive track record of the Southern District of New York's prosecutors, who boast a win rate exceeding 97% in criminal cases. This expansion underscores the magnitude of the challenge Combs and his legal team face. Dismantling a prosecution supported by a vast trove of evidence, detailed witness accounts, and sophisticated investigative work. The defense must not only refute the factual claims, but also navigate complex procedural and evidentiary hurdles, all under intense media scrutiny. The road ahead: an uncertain and high-stakes trial. With the trial fast approaching, the scale of the legal battle becomes increasingly apparent. Prosecutors plan to call dozens of witnesses, present hours of graphic video evidence, and unravel an alleged criminal network involving not only Combs, but multiple co-conspirators. The explosive nature of the allegations, ranging from drug-fueled freak-off parties to coercion and sex trafficking, has ensured that this case will be one of the most complex and closely watched trials in recent history. For Combs, the decision to reject a plea deal and confront these charges head-on is a monumental gamble. The jury tasked with deciding his fate will need to weigh not only the mountain of evidence, but also contend with the public persona of a man who has profoundly influenced music and popular culture for decades. Whether Combs can overcome the weight of evidence, the emotional testimony of former partners and associates, and the prosecutorial expertise arrayed against him remains uncertain. As jury selection wraps up and opening arguments near, global attention is riveted on the courtroom drama set to unfold. The trial will inevitably shape the legacy of one of hip-hop's most iconic and influential figures, with outcomes that could reverberate far beyond the legal sphere. Attorney Anthony Rico's sudden exit, a sign of conflict within the defense. Adding to the turmoil within Combs's camp was the unexpected departure of Anthony Rico, one of 6 attorneys originally assigned to defend him. On February 21st, Rico filed a formal motion to withdraw from the case, citing an inability to continue representing Combs in a manner consistent with the ethical standards of the American Bar Association's Criminal Justice Section. Although the motion was vague, it referenced issues protected by attorney-client privilege, suggesting that irreconcilable differences or ethical dilemmas arose behind the scenes. Rico's exit is particularly notable because he was the only black lawyer on Combs's defense team. His departure has raised eyebrows, especially given defense claims that the charges against Combs are racially motivated, a narrative that now faces the challenge of internal team fragmentation. The loss of such a pivotal figure further highlights the intense pressure and complexity surrounding Combs's defense. Managing decades of alleged misconduct, a large number of accusers, and overwhelming evidence is an enormous task under any circumstances. Rico's withdrawal points to the profound challenges facing the defense as it strives to maintain cohesion and mount an effective legal challenge.